Hi everyone, welcome back to Beautiful Mess. My name is Bonnie and I'd like to welcome you if you're new here. And what I do primarily on this channel is clean homes for free for people who are struggling with some kind of challenge in their life, whether that be mental health or a physical challenge, whatever that might be. But often in these circumstances, they are not able to afford these kind of services, so I provide them for free. And this is actually the second installment of this kitchen. So if you missed the first one, I will link it on the screen here if you wanted to start there. But this is the home of Cammie, and just as a quick recap, she has something called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, and her husband also has narcolepsy. And between the two of them, they have some very severe health challenges, a lot of medical problems, and the last few years have been pretty rough on them. One of the more recent developments in Cammie's situation is that she has had to have a feeding tube placed because she's malnutritioned. Her body is basically eating itself. And anyway, she needed to have that placed in order to give her some nutrition and get some of the vitamins and things replaced in her body. So, and then I also wanted to include this picture of her husband asleep on the ladder, because this is just one of the many places that Cammie has found her husband asleep from his narcolepsy, which is very severe, very debilitating. And we're going to talk a lot more about that today in this video, because there were a lot of people wondering in the last video, the first video, whatever, about why the husband wasn't stepping up and helping more. And there is a reason for it. So we will get into that in just a little bit. Thank you, Barkeepers. Just for fun, let's try this. Nice. So I will be joined by Lanita a little bit later in this video, and we're going to be washing a lot of dishes in this one, because if you remember from the first one, what we did was just put all of the dirty dishes into totes and took them outside, and then we brought back one tote at a time to either put in the dishwasher or to wash by hand. So this is where we're washing a whole bunch of this by hand while the dishwasher is doing its job and washing some of the smaller stuff. And by the end of this day, we had everything washed, put back into clean totes, and we took it to the living room to make space in here, because there are still cupboards that we will pull things out of to create room to put this back. And there was a lot of decluttering that also needed to happen. So there will be some of that in here as well. And some of this stove cleaning. So if you saw me take a garbage bag off of there, yes, that is really what that was. Rather than putting plastic wrap on this, I just sprayed it with some Easy Off oven cleaner and then put a garbage bag over it, because it does the same kind of thing as putting saran wrap over it, keeps it moist. And I left that overnight, came back the next day. This was a lot easier to get off than it otherwise would have been. So that's what you see me doing here. There were still multiple passes that had to be made on this, because it had been quite a while since it had been cleaned. So I try a few different products on this, including the pink stuff, and then I end up finding some Wyman gas and grill cleaner, I think is what it's called, and try that on it as well, because some of this was pretty difficult to get off, even with the razor. I do wish I had my smaller razor with me, but I could not find that. I did end up finding it in one of my totes and did have it with me all along, but unfortunately I couldn't find it right here. So just had to make do with my big razor scraper. So I'm just showing you some of this stuff that was more difficult to get off, and I decided to try the pink stuff on it. So here's just an aerial view of that, and then a bit more up close view. I had to give my smiley face some eyebrows because I'm always a little sad that they don't have eyebrows, because that's where a lot of the expression is. Look what I found that she has that I should have used, but we're going to see how the pink stuff did and then use this if we still need it. Before I get too far in this video, I did want to take a minute just to say thank you so much for all of the very kind messages you guys sent after I posted my video of sort of the struggle I'm going through right now, the burnout, all that. You guys sent some of the most wonderful messages, and even though I'm trying not to reply to a lot of them, and I haven't even made it through all of them because there were over 2,000. You guys are amazing. I just thank you for that outpouring of love. I really appreciate my community. You guys made me feel seen, and I just appreciate you all so much. It's really hard to tell if that is ruined finish or baked on food. So we're gonna try the Wyman, and if that doesn't work, we're just gonna have to call this good. Before I forget to mention, I am going camping this weekend with my family, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at Capitol Reef. So if anybody's in Utah, goes to Capitol Reef, come find me. But I mentioned that just because I am going to schedule this to be released on Sunday. And so though I'm not really replying extensively to comments anymore, even doing the little heart on them will probably have to wait until I get back on Monday, unless I happen to have Wi-Fi and can sort of keep up on it here and there while I'm down there, because it does stress me out less to just stay on top of it actually than to have it all pile up. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's see how this did. Ooh, I think it actually worked really well. Okay, I promised I would talk more about Cammie's husband's narcolepsy, and I'm just going to read a little bit of what she actually wrote down about it. So here's what she says. She says, "My husband works for a nonprofit with computers and has several health challenges of his own. He has 4 conditions that cause chronic fatigue as well as an anxiety disorder, 2 endocrine deficiencies creating low energy and sleep apnea. But worst of all is his severe narcolepsy with comorbid cataplexy, which is when he instantly goes limp from sudden sounds or strong emotions. He's no slouch, and luckily his narcolepsy does have an aura before most attacks hit, but he needs about 4 to 5 naps a day to hold down a job. Some of this can be managed with medications, but only so much. Our insurance pays 4 figures a month for just one of them, and without it, he can fall over instantly, crumpled on the ground like a rag doll. I won't tell you all the interesting places I have found him sleeping, but they include ladders and standing up at an outdoor Muse concert." And then she goes on to say a little bit after this, "My husband is mom and dad right now, and my kids have had me sick or in school for almost as long as they have had me healthy. Goodness in a man is the most attractive feature he can possibly have, and he sizzles with it. Can you imagine what he has been through doing all this and losing the only cook in the house that knew where anything was?" So those are just some of the challenges her husband has been dealing with. But on top of that, both of the kids have also had some challenges as well. So I'm going to take a little break here, give my voice a rest, enjoy some cleaning sounds for a second, and then we'll jump into that. Oh, I did want to point out right here, real quick, what I do with jelly roll pans or cookie sheets, whatever you call them, when they've got stuck on stuff like this, is I just put a little dish soap on there, tiny bit of water, and then just stack them just so it squishes the water out more flat. And anyway, just let it soak that way, and comes off really easily if you just let it soak for a minute. Oh, and does Lanita look like she is dressed to be cleaning? She looks absolutely adorable, too adorable to be cleaning with me in white shorts and a yellow shirt. Well, I have a yellow shirt too, so I can't say anything about that, but she was all dressed to go to, or no, wait, she had just come from her husband's work function, and so she didn't change before she came, and so she looked too cute to be cleaning in this. And a lot of what's going on here you'll get to see a bit more close up because we're just pulling everything out of drawers and getting it washed because as you can see, it's pretty dirty in there. This is how mine gets too. All those crumbs just fall into the silverware drawer and pile up. And so every once in a while, it's nice to just get everything out of there, dump out all those crumbs and or vacuum them out, whatever you choose to do. And we wanted to be thorough, so we took everything out to get it washed, or at least check it if it was clean enough. We left it as is, but we washed a lot of this stuff just to make sure it was all clean. But a lot of this stuff is what you'll see Cami decluttering alongside Lanita later. Okay, we'll get back to what some of the challenges Cami's children are also dealing with. So she wrote up a little bit of this as well, so I'll just read some of that. So she says, my oldest is on the autism spectrum as well as has ADHD. She's super talented, creative, bright, and funny. I've missed so much of my sweet kiddo's life because I couldn't get out of bed, and I know it has made a huge hole in her life. Because of her neurodivergent diagnosis, she struggles with sensory input, and any change at all has to click perfectly into place to make it palatable for her. Until 2022, she had been in outpatient full-day programs for 3 years, and we are still paying for them. I drove half an hour each way to pick her up and drop her off. My son is in the upper grades of elementary school and has very sensitive hearing as well as anxiety. If he didn't get that from both his parents biologically, finding me unconscious on the kitchen floor in January would have eventually, I'm sure. Poor, sweet, kind little guy. He has a heart of gold, and I was hoping to take him to his first trip to Disneyland this fall. For a while, I totally thought I was getting better and it would be absolutely doable. He told me he knows we can't this year and not to worry about Legoland because he just wants me to be better. I think my heart shattered into about 1,000 pieces. But at the end of the day, my kids have had enough to eat, clean clothes, and know they are loved. They get decent grades and know they are important to both of their parents. The looking glass principle states that kids believe what they think their parents' opinions of them are. I've always strived to be the looking glass that reflects back love, capability, validation, kindness, honesty, the ability to apologize, humor, frankness, and conscientiousness. I don't always succeed, but I got a lot of practice growing up as the oldest kid in my family to break me in a bit. So hopefully that gives you a bit more perspective on this family situation and why things have built up to the state that they were in when I first got there, and that this is not a matter of laziness and them wanting to live this way, but really just being in a state of overwhelm from years and years of challenging things they've been dealing with. So here is the end of that third day, I think it was. I don't even remember anymore, but this is where we ended on that day. And this is the beginning of the next day. So, and I wanted to point out that that weird thing you see right there is actually my 360-degree camera. I figured somebody would ask me what that was, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. That is my camera. It just looks funny from this angle. Okay, I'm moving on to the oven. I always get stove and oven mixed up. Does anybody else do that? I call them, an oven a stove and a stove an oven sometimes. But anyway, this is something that I also sprayed down with Easy Off the night before. I think it was actually 2 nights before. So it sat there for 2 nights because I did not have time to do it the next day and thought I'll just get to it the day after and just told her not to use her oven. I also need to amend something that I said in a prior video that I was wrong about. And I will fully admit that I was wrong. But in the one where I'm cleaning Nancy's kitchen and I talk about how the drawers on ovens are actually warming drawers or are supposed to be used for warming, but most people use them for storage. Well, that's not correct. Apparently. Somebody did tell me when I was probably in my 20s, I'm not even sure who it was, but they told me that those drawers are for warming things, and they're not. Actually, most of them are just for storage, but in this oven that I'm cleaning here, she does actually have a warming drawer. So it has a button that says warming drawer, and she uses it all the time for letting rolls rise and things like that. But my apologies, I did not mean to lead you astray. Keep on using those drawers for storage. And if you are new to my channel and have not heard me talk about all of the reasons that I do not use the self-clean feature on self-cleaning ovens, I will just lay it out here for you real quick, because the last video I did where I talked about these things, many people also added their own horror stories of what has happened to them or to their ovens, and it just has confirmed to me that, I will never ever use it again. But number one, I cannot handle the smell of the fumes and stuff that come from it. There's a lot of carbon monoxide that gets released when you're using that feature. By the way, side note, this is the warming drawer that I am cleaning here. I'm sure you guessed. But anyway, another reason I don't use self-clean feature is that it is a fire risk because of how hot it has to get. And if it's like too close to the wall, it can cause a fire. And somebody told me about an instance where it almost caused a fire in their home. And then the last thing I'll mention here is that it can fry the components in your oven. So appliance repair people will tell you not to use it because it can actually damage the components in your oven, which is so weird. Why do they even make the feature if it just is going to fry the components? So you'll buy a new oven, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, that's frustrating that they know it can damage the components and yet they still put the feature on there. Not cool. Lenita, amazing Lenita. Look at all of our And we still have to sort that. And that. I keep hitting the bottom of this. There we go. Oh, beautiful, Anita. So while I finish cleaning the oven, Lanita's going to be working with Cami on the items that she wants to keep and what she wants to donate. Because the cool part about this is that Lanita actually has a friend who works with an organization who sets up women who have been abused or in abusive relationships and they're starting all over with nothing, and sets them up with the things that they need for kitchen and bedroom, just basically imagine starting with nothing. And those are the types of things that she takes. And it was so nice to be able to have that option to donate to, because it sure makes things a lot easier to let go of when you know it's going to a good cause, or that somebody is really going to appreciate it. So I was thankful for that. Okay, right here, I'm just showing you how I get in those little cracks and crevices that are hard to get to sometimes. And all these little detail brushes are available in my affiliate links in the video description. And that's one way that you can support my channel, is by using those links. And it doesn't cost you any extra. It's just one simple way to support my channel. I also want to thank all of my new members on my channel, because there were a lot this last week. And that's a lot thanks to Bonnie Hassan, my beautiful Bonnie that calls me her eptist. But she mentioned that that's one way that you can support my channel, is by joining as a member, and a lot of you did. So I really, really appreciate that. And if you can't afford to become a member, please don't. The easiest way that you can support my channel and these free cleanings is just by simply liking these videos, commenting, subscribing, and then watching my videos, including maybe even an ad or two.
If you did decide, oh my gosh, I really do need one more thing of this, that's what birthdays and Christmas
right, or Dollar Store,
or Mother's Tree, or Mother's Day, or the Dollar Tree.
Yeah,
right.
Dollar Tree works too.
I just wanted you to hear just a bit of the decision-making process here.
All the ones that are that are perpendicular to these can go.
Okay.
I'm still probably gonna do another pass on these.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
But this is perfectly shaped to go with my KitchenAid mixer, like for scraping aside.
Yep. I don't want you to regret anything, so don't leave in my mentality. You don't have to listen to. You make your own decisions about this
Just
stuff.
move on. I am making my own decision, and here's the thing. By and large, I'm not emotionally attached to any of this. That's who I was before I got sick. And I want to get back to that girl, and I'm not going to buy any new projects. That's my rule. No new projects. And I will be judicious on the ones I keep that I've already got.
We may have like 50 dreams, but you suddenly have to realize, okay, you know what?
Okay,
my body can't do what it used to.
Right. Well,
Or
and that's what
my
happened to
time
me.
is different than it used to when I had that dream or that vision or that project I wanted to do. So I think have a few,
Totally.
but I'm not as creative as everyone else. So sometimes people are like, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's better to just, it's
Let
better
it
to
go and
have
have
a
that air.
few to be able to get done than
And do it
50
well.
and don't even do one
Right, exactly.
because you're too overwhelmed.
Or
by
we spread too thin to do anything well.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. As we age, we're not able to do as much, which is a bummer. But and
It
I've
is.
seen that happen in real time in the last 2 years of my life.
Yeah, things
Very
change.
clear.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be hampered down by things. That's what got me into this mess.
And here's a lot of whisks.
Okay. Yeah, I love whisks, but I use these for hair dye. After that, I don't need any more whisks.
Okay, and I don't really have any more that I'm aware of.
No, and if I find any more, they get probably volunteered to go away.
If you came to my channel looking for a bunch of cleaning tips and organizing tips, that is only part of why I do this channel. I will throw those in every once in a while. For instance, with this microwave, I put in a mug of water and a little bit of vinegar. I don't have an exact ratio for you, but just put a little bit of vinegar in it, and I stick it in there for like 5 minutes just to soften everything up, and it comes out a lot easier. But you could also do the same thing with Mr. Clean Freak or Dawn Powerwash. Just spray it on there, let it sit for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and then it's a lot easier to wipe down. But anyway, that is not actually the main reason I wanted to do this channel. It was more to create some compassion and understanding around people going through difficult times, and just to open your eyes to the fact that there are probably a lot of people around you, strangers, family, friends, who may be going through something similar to a situation like this, and you might not even know. So if we could just treat people as though they're going through something hard like this, chances are they probably are dealing with something difficult in their lives. It might not be to this extent where both parents are sick and the kids also have their own challenges, but I think everybody has hard things. So just treat each other with kindness. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm getting better, and especially as I do more of these homes and understand some of the reasons behind why homes can become unmanageable. I also think it's important to remember that we don't all deal with things in the same way, because you might go through this exact same thing and think, oh, I would have called family in, or I would have called a housekeeper in to take care of things before it got to this point. But we don't have all the information. We don't know what's going on with the family, if there is family around, if they have burned through their finances because of medical bills. I mean, it can be a million different things. So we all deal with things differently, and no two situations are going to be exactly the same. Okay, see these streaks right here? I was so bugged. I really wanted to be able to take this door apart and get in there to take care of those streaks. But as I started to take it apart, I realized this was one of those that was kind of harder to get back together, and I did not want to be dealing with that. So I just left the streaks there, and if they want to clean it at a future point, great. But it did drive me crazy a little bit. Doesn't that look so much better? Okay, here's just a little bit of the organization that we started in the drawer, but there was still a lot more to go through, so we don't finish it on this day. There will be more in the next one of some of the drawer organization and cabinets and things like that. So that's a fun one. And we're also going to tackle the pantry. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the same one or two different ones. I mean, I don't want to drag this out forever, but I also don't want to make the longest video in the world. I'm trying to hit a sweet spot around 30 to 40 minutes because it seems like that's what most of you will watch. So that's what I'm going for. And I normally wouldn't spend this many days in a row in a kitchen, but there were a couple of reasons for that. First, there was a ton of stuff to go through, but you can see by the amount of stuff that she has that this is something that she loves to do. She loves to cook, bake, all of that stuff, and she's that's kind of her happy place. So I usually try to pick something that's important to them and give them back that portion of their life. She's got a lot of interests. So I've not even seen her craft room, but apparently it's got some work to do. So I don't know if we'll make it to there, but it is something that I think would be fun if I can do it. The only problem is that it's not like she lives super close to me. So we'll just have to see what happens with that, because I am trying not to overextend myself and promise too much. I'm learning. I love cleaning stainless steel fridges. So I just took a wet, damp rag, that doesn't mean, it's either wet or it's damp. Anyway, it was a damp rag, and just got off all of the crustier stuff, and also used a razor scraper to get off any of the hard water, and then used Wyman stainless steel cleaner to shine it up. Looks beautiful. Okay, get ready for some after photos. These are going to be progress, not perfection videos and photos, because this looks amazing right now. But, it's not perfect. We only swept the floor. We did not mop it because we ran out of time that day and had to move on. But it does look amazing. Don't look at the background because there's stuff we have not gotten to. But this is the table area. Looks so much better. This is I don't know if this is my favorite or the island. I'm just a sucker for a good before and after. So just keep this in mind. This is what it looks like when it's all cleaned up, but we are going to reclutter it in the next one because we're going to have to be pulling out all the stuff from the cabinets and cleaning those, putting back only the things that she's keeping. There's still the pantry to go through, so we're going to use these clean surfaces to put that stuff on and then re-clean them. So this is what it will look like in the end, but even more organized within the cabinets. So I can't wait to show you that. And I'll just show you a little bit of what's coming up in the next episode. I don't know what to call it. Installment? Yeah, sure. But we're going to hit this Lazy Susan in the corner. Here's the pantry. Can't even walk into it. Part of that is our fault because we did push some stuff in there in order to just make some room for now. But this currently is looking amazing. I can't wait to show you. And that's all for now. So I'm going to try to relax hard this weekend while camping. And then I am just going to take it easier for the next couple of weeks. But I still will have a video for you because I've got plenty of footage to still make videos while I'm just taking a break from cleaning. So anyway, thank you guys so much for your support. We will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.